It's important in order to understand the other side, to understand the here. I'll try as much as possible to keep this high school knowledge as I merely aim to connect the dots. The experience of here is limited to the senses: see, touch, hear, taste, and smell. Once roamed the earth a man called Leonardo da Vinci. His results were beyond his time. His work earned him titles such as a polymath, a scientist, mathematician, military engineer, inventor, anatomist, painter, sculptor, architect, botanist, musician, a writer, just to name a few. It's said that he would look for inspiration from nature, and this can be seen in his works such as the Mona Lisa and The Last Supper, where geometry was intentionally used, left, right, and center. Some of his mechanical inventions are some that we still use today, just to show the importance of experiencing the here. The rule for each dimension is that measurement can only be taken in one direction. Place two dimensions on top of each other. You can start walking in the space you are occupying. Add a third and you can start jumping. Limitations to experiencing the physical. Taking these dimensions and representing movement on a straight line to place the fourth dimension over the top, giving time. Seconds, in minutes, in hours, in days, fractally.
I think that one's reality is a result of your intention and your attention.
It's through spiritual practice that I've recognised that my own impermanence, my own irrelevance, the fact that I'm just a person shuffling through life, I ain't really no different now from when I was a little kid. And all I want really is that I don't want that feeling in my stomach that people are being treated badly. I don't want a feeling that people are being exploited.
People need to live spiritual lives, all of us. I'm a person, and it's good to have access to the infinite consciousness that is available to all people, but through the five senses is delineated, keeping us trapped on a material plane.
We think reality is what we can apportion through the limited instruments of the senses, but reality is of course far beyond that. Spiritual data, we don't have the correct instruments to receive it, and we live primarily in the realm of the senses. Anything that we're describing through science, we're describing through the prism of the five limited senses. Our eyes can only see between infrared light and ultraviolet light. There's light bouncing around everywhere. Our ears can only hear a tiny decibel range, can't hear the noise of a dog whistle, can't hear any high-pitched frequency sounds. Isn't it likely then that there are other vibrations, frequencies, energies, consciousness moving through the universe?
Consciousness is an amorphous and expanding entity. I think that we allow our consciousness to be prohibited by our senses, prescribed by our senses, living in the realm of these five apertures into our reality. But reality is limitless. Space is infinite, time eternal. Through yoga, one can temporarily break the bonds that chain us to the mundane, the mondial, that which is of the earth, and we can temporarily at least receive a taste of the infinite.
I don't want to get too cosmic about it, but we are just this sort of temporary blob of atoms, you know, endowed with consciousness for the merest moments in infinite space.
Meditation and yoga, these are fundamental parts of my life. I think it's difficult these days with religion getting such a rough ride, the Pope resigning, bloody terrorism and nonsense. It's difficult to find an access to spirituality, but we are by our nature spiritual people. If we don't have access to spirituality, we suffer as individuals, society suffers. We need to recognise at some point that within ourselves there's an infinite capacity for connection with all things.
Well, I love the fact that you've described it as you have a daily access to unseen realms of power.
Daily access to unseen realms of power. Not just me, everyone has that. For me, what I've discovered is that transcendental meditation is useful to me, not because of a unique set of circumstances, not because of my formerly secret brilliance, no, but because I am a human being. And it is applicable to all human beings. And what's really good about that is literally everyone in this room is one.
What I say is that we're basically all right human beings. Whenever there's a disaster or an accident, people's impulse is to help one another.
So I'm thinking anyone that galvanises people, brings people together and points us to the better aspects of our nature and help us to overcome our basic things like fear and desire, I think these people are worthy heroes, rather than the heroes that are nominated today, heroes that are low vibrational frequency that make us concentrate on daft stuff.
So like they want you to be talking about Justin Bieber, they want you to be talking about twerking. They don't want you talking about fracking, they want you talking about twerking. They want to get on with their job, shut your fucking mouths and watch this shit, you fucking morons. And I know, because I've been part of the charade. But, you know, I'm awake now.
Look beyond the superficial. That's the problem with current affairs. You forget about what's important. You allow the agenda to be decided by superficial information. What am I saying? What am I talking about? Don't think about what I'm wearing. These things are redundant, superficial. And I don't think that we should be continuing to propagate the idea that famous people are magical and special, because it makes people feel that their lives ain't no good. And I don't think we should be living in that kind of fearful paradigm.
It's that. I'm like a vegetarian. I believe we're all equal. I ain't got the right to kill. I don't kill, like, say a fly comes in my house, I tolerate that little arsehole. Because I feel like he's a fly, he's just on his journey here through life.
When I'm meditating or praying, I say the infinite creative force that brings into being all phenomena and guides all life, I say, can you move through me? And things that actually work, you sort of treat them, you sort of shirk them off as if, like, you know, as if you owe them money and you don't, oh no, I've got to avoid yoga and meditation. They've been portrayed quite brilliantly by the mainstream as sort of somehow luxury, but into luxury or artificial or superficial. It's absolutely integral. It's absolutely the most authentic thing, more real than any of us. If people are happy, they're happy. They don't need it. If there's not a problem, there's not a problem. But I think if people have some sort of yearning or dissatisfaction or some itchy irritability, then it might be because they're not looking in the right direction for a solution, and that they should look within, and that within them there is a limitless, infinite capacity for bliss through connection to higher things. You cannot define yourself in reference to other external coordinates. You must define yourself internally with your relationship with a higher entity. Think of yourself as a manifestation of some higher thing, some higher frequency. This is the visible realization. And you know that because you can't see atoms, can you? And you certainly can't see the forces that hold atoms together. There, in the micro-quantum world, Richard, lie the answers to everything. We can't understand it with our logical, rational minds, but we feel it intuitively. Get yourself in alignment with that stuff and you beam like the sun.
As an added bonus, I'd like to show you how it's possible to have infinite space in a finite boundary. Take a circle and set as finite boundary. Place a triangle inside, touching all edges. Place the same triangle over the top. Zooming inwards is repeating the process with the exact same triangle. Infinitely. Zooming outwards 2 repeats, infinitely.